You're like Michael Scott.
I declare this fine.
Like saying it out loud made it.
I declare this whatever.
This is okay. I've said so out loud.
Would you like to clap, Eddie?
I do want to. Which camera should I look in?
Both, if possible.
Here, I'll close my eyes. Ready? Like that magic eye poster. Is that gonna work? I feel like I fucked it up.
I don't know if any of this is gonna work. We're not gonna use this. Is unusable. Hi, welcome to Every Time Historical Roast Podcast. I'm Ryan Pig.
I'm Eddie Firth.
Eddie Firth cannot hold it together. We're back from roasting the Queen for our 10-year anniversary. This is this the first? This isn't the first time I've seen you since then.
I think it might be.
No, I saw you at Universal.
Yeah.
So I've seen you around.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're back, hot off that roast. So many great comedians, so many offensive jokes. I cry myself to sleep every night. It was amazing.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year 2025.
So what's your overall memory? What is your feel? I guess memory and feeling are the first place I went with that show, because that's obviously what I took away from that roast. But tell me about, because the Queen roast was awesome. I think that was such a great 10-year anniversary show. Comedians were incredible that night.
Yeah, standouts. I mean, all of them are great, but Gigi did a Marie Antoinette costume, and the wig was humongous.
I ended up sitting behind the wig for most of the show.
Yeah, I was editing that, and I was like, I can't see Eddie. There's no shot.
Even with the Buckingham Palace hat, you couldn't even see the hat behind it. I saw the clip, and I was like, you can't even see me at all.
You could fit your hat in her wig. It was so big. But that was
the tall chair behind her.
Right. But yeah, obviously all of them were great. Matt O'Brien, Anya Malik, Keith Carey, Matt McCarthy, Julian M. Stern as Shakespeare. All of them were so good. I know I'm missing a few, but I mean, it was just like such a great night and such a blur. Yeah. Because by the time it's over, I'm like, like my stomach and my mind were still in the mindset of we're about to do the show.
Yeah.
But it was great. I was especially surprised. You can see in the video of when you said how many of you saw this show when it was at Nerd Melt, which ended in like 2018, and there were probably like 7 to 10 people who cheered. And I was like, oh, you're still alive. The building's not.
10 years later,
you didn't catch on fire with the building.
I think, look, standout moments for me have less to do with the jokes and the characters and more with the comedians, because the way I said this to people afterwards, when I called my mom and told her how the show went.
Right.
So obviously Historical Roast for 10 years with you and me has been like, it's my entire life. Like when I say it's the most meaningful thing in my life, it's the most meaningful thing in my life.
Yeah.
Intellectually, I always knew the show was an important part of the comedians' lives. Like I know Keith Carey has been with us since the second show ever. Jamar Neighbors has done the show. Matt McCarthy has been with us since Nerd Melt. Like Julian Stern. So many people, Fifi Dosh, people have been with this show with us, writing, building characters. Anya always says really nice things to me about how he's changed how he looks at making characters and performing in a different way. Because
I heard some of that. That's amazing.
I've known how much the show has been a part of their lives because I know how much has been a part of mine. I've known that. That night, I felt in my chest how big a part of their lives it was.
Yeah.
And the two moments that really stood out to me were, it sounds crazy, but like Keith Carey as Hitler breaks character at the end of his set and says some of the kindest, nicest, but also most relatable. The thing that made me cry, I cried on stage. The thing that actually I had to stop myself from breaking down was when he talked about how he was like, I've been with this show since it was this, and it was
mediocre show in the back of a comic book store.
Because I've been here since the second fucking show, and it has been amazing to watch this show evolve from a lightly attended gimmick show in the back of a comic book store into a full-scale television production, into being amazingly rejected by the American public at large. and back into a slightly worse attended gimmick show in the second best room at the third best comedy club in a 1 mile radius.
To a Netflix show, to being oh wait, I'm gonna butcher it. Widely rejected by the American population or something, American audience.
But that's when I cried with joy because I was like, he's been on this journey with it.
He
actually happened to him too.
He was rejected with us.
It made me feel so good, but it mattered.
He wrote jokes for the Hitler played by Gilbert Gottfried that was widely rejected by the American public. He was there with us,
and he was like, "I know, I saw it, and they didn't like it. I don't know why."
And Matt McCarthy had a joke from inside the writers' room that was very inside baseball, but that reminded us like he's sacrificed so much for the show, including shaving his beard for the Netflix show that he was ultimately cut out of. Even though he was hilarious, he played basically a honeymooner version of the bus driver who kicks Rosa Parks off. So.
Definitely. Look,
he shaved his beard, which is like that's like you shaving your beard. It would have to be something you care about a lot. And
do you remember the story he told us about not shaving for a commercial?
No.
He auditions for a commercial. He's in there. He told me this story at Meltdown one day. He's in there for the commercial. It might have even been at the show, but I think he told me this before then. He's auditioning, and they go, "Well, would you shave for this?" And he looks at the script and goes, "Well," they go, "Would you shave?" And he looks at this, and goes, "Not for this." And then they booked him anyway and didn't make him shave. So he still got the job.
A for honesty.
So that story, you guys should definitely go check out that story. Go listen to Matt McCarthy's set because he does. He says something about what happened in the writer's room on a day we were writing. And you and I talk about that. All the time. Like once a week, we will text each other. Do you want to step outside? You want to step outside? And I didn't remember that Matt was in there for that. So when he brought that up, it blew my mind because we talk about the fact that he remembers it. Again, that's why it hit me in the chest. It's like, oh my God, we have all been through this together for 10 years. That's a quarter of my life I've known these people, that we've been working on this thing, that we've been roasting dead people. This is insane.
Damn.
So I felt
you're
that.
old.
It's
quarter of your life.
But if it's 10 years, that's a bigger percent of your life than mine because you're younger.
That was like half of my life.
I imagine doing this show with you as a 10-year-old. That's funny. If I'm hosting, like, Ryan, come over here. No, we're on stage now. Come here. What were you like as 10? What would you have done hosting this show at 10 years old?
JFK had a cowboy hat on the day he got assassinated. Afterwards, it was half off. Ha ha. What's this fucking kid doing at the Comedy Store? Did Chris D'Elia sneak him in? Oh boy. All right. Everybody calm down.
So it was a great show. I love it. Go check it out on YouTube.
Whenever we have a commercial break, we'll cut to a clip of that.
And put the link in the corner here.
Here's link in the corner.
One of these two corners, whichever you need to put it in.
I don't have the tech for that.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So, do you want to get into your thoughts on 2024 as a year? I know you've heard enough of people roasting 2024. But
it is.
You don't have to hear it from us.
It feels like everyone everywhere has gotten a comedian to roast last year.
You know what? Very uneventful year. I don't think anything happened.
Look, I'll be honest. This new year is feeling suspiciously like the old year. I feel like something
just started. I mean, I don't know if you guys realize this is the 4th of January we're recording this.
It feels exactly like last year. In fact, I think somebody handed me the keys to last year's model. I don't know if there's like a software update I need to download.
What was going on this time last year?
The Cat Williams thing. Everybody I saw was talking about how Cat Williams did the podcast with Shannon Sharp last year,
and he spilled a lot of tea,
and he predicted everything that was going to happen. Except the Trump assassination, except the...
Did he predict Diddy?
Yeah, that's what a lot of that was. A lot of showbiz stuff is what he was talking about.
Let's be honest. Sounds like a lot of comedians, or a lot of celebrities knew about Diddy.
Yeah.
And they could have easily predicted.
And let's be honest. We know Ryan did not watch Club Shay Shay. This is the first time.
I don't know what that is. Is that a 40-year-old thing? The older millennials know.
Yeah. Hi, Marissa.
Hi, sorry, I was trying to be quiet.
Don't be sorry, you're on the podcast.
Oh, no.
Speaking of Marissa,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
How was your 2024 overall?
How was it?
My
Good,
favorite.
I got engaged.
Good,
Yeah.
she got engaged.
My fiance got engaged with somebody. That's crazy. Who is it? I'll kill him.
She texted me today. She was like, "Can I have your address to send you the save the date?" I was like, I'm sorry, I'm busy that night. I can't make it."
Well, yeah, my New Year started the same way too, because it started with Marissa going, "When are we getting married?" But this time she actually knows. She's just like, "When are we going to start preparing to get married?"
That's right. This year is the year you get married.
Yeah, we have the date. Eddie is a groomsman. He's very pissed because he's not a best man.
That's actually true. I didn't know you knew that.
Every groomsman
I didn't know you knew that.
Every single groomsman I asked was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm so wow, this is such a surprise. Thank you so much." Eddie's the only one who was like, "Groomsman?
I didn't say that out loud, did I?
Groomsman?"
I did not say that out
No,
loud.
no, I have a video.
I did not say that out loud.
First you're happy,
I thought it.
and then you cry, and you go, "Who got best man?"
I did not
As
say
if it's
that.
a school play.
I did not say that either.
Okay, we're gonna play the video for you right
this
now.
This wedding is not about me, and I have had long therapy sessions about that. So
You have to return the white dress.
the fact that it's to somebody else and not me was already where I got lost.
I want to see how. I want to see how pissed.
Marissa?
I want to
Really?
see how pissed Eddie is right now when I tell him this. We went to Men's Warehouse to look at suits.
Without me?
You were working. But I'll show you the
Without
pic.
me.
We didn't choose.
Without me. Hold on a second. He
Without
went
him.
suit shopping without me.
I know.
Okay. The guy who doesn't know about Club Shay
That's
Shay.
like going to Disneyland without me.
That's like going to Disney.
How'd you get
without
around?
Mickey. Where you left Mickey at home?
You got Mickey at home.
Oh man.
But we didn't pick out a suit, so I'll show you the options afterwards.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm really
Yeah.
excited. And you're gonna make me buy the same one as you, or a complimenting one?
But it's very. I
I'm
think
not best man, so it doesn't
no,
really
but
matter.
the groomsmen and best man suits are going to be very similar.
Yeah.
So the picture they showed us is like all the groomsmen have ties, but I have a bow tie.
Nice.
And I was like, if I wear a bow tie and Eddie doesn't, that's only happened once before. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. I know exactly.
You remember whose roast it was?
I know exactly
Okay,
whose
go
roast.
ahead,
it was. So
say it.
there was a roast where I specifically wore a necktie and you wore a bow tie.
Not on purpose. Neither of us knew the other one was going to wear the ties.
Yeah, we didn't know we were switching. I wore a necktie because we were roasting Helen Keller. And I thought it would be funny because if she goes to feel who's roasting her and she feels a necktie, there was no way I was getting blamed for it. I'm like, oh, a necktie? I never wear a necktie. It's not me. I didn't say it.
I remember opening that. First of all, that was the poster where it was duct tape on her face and her mouth. And people were like ripping it off the walls because they were like, I don't know what this is, but it sounds offensive.
No, that's not what happened.
What happened? Were you doing it?
No, we didn't get posters ripped down off the wall. You got into a fight with a 15-year-old.
No, that also happened. No, someone also ripped off. But yes,
Did they also take? Management at the theater thought the duct tape was a little much. I do remember it was the theater.
Was it
It wasn't
Nolan?
the comic book shop. It was one of the managers at the theater thought that the duct tape over Helen Keller's eyes and mouth was a little bit much.
Yep, that sounds familiar. But no, I did also get into a fight with a 15-year-old, and here's the explanation.
Yeah, explain.
I hashtagged Helen Keller, and some 15-year-old, I assume
13.
4-year-old girl on Instagram saw it, and she was like, how dare you, and all this stuff. And I was like, listen, you don't understand. This is a roast. It's an honor in the comedy community.
It's an honor. It's an honor for us to roast Helen Keller in the back of a comic book shop.
Unless you're Hitler. But yeah, and then she's like, I totally understand. And then Eddie jumps in and goes, "You're a dick, Ryan. Who would dare roast this poor girl?"
You monster, Helen Keller. She can neither see nor smell? Hear. She can neither see nor hear.
Nor taste, nor smell, nor breathe.
Oh man.
And then we joked about how if there's protesters that are blind, they probably got lost on the way to the comic book. It was a very tasteful evening, as you know.
I forgot some of the things we've said.
Yeah, well, that's not the worst thing we've said, but listen, you have YouTube, you can find it all. Give us a thumbs up on the way. How did we get here? Oh, bow ties and yeah, so that's
I can't
the
wait.
plan.
I can't wait to see your.
That's the plan.
Your suit.
Yeah, me too. Once I pick it,
Yeah.
I'll just bring you in. I'll
You're
just send you
gonna pick
in.
it without me.
I'll bring you in.
Isn't the whole reason you hired me as a groomsman for this? Like you booked
That's
me.
why I'm paying you with bow ties.
You're like, well, if I got to get a suit, I have to ask Eddie to be there.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited for that. 2025, getting married.
Yeah.
I don't have really any other plans aside from going into debt.
I'm going to your wedding, I guess,
Yeah.
and that's about it. I'm not supposed to do anything else this year.
I have something prepared.
Good.
That I didn't tell you about beforehand.
Okay.
So I have a recap of 2024, but only as John Mulaney punchlines. So I will throw up look like a meme of John Mulaney. Let me make sure it's still recording so it doesn't make me look stupid. All right, good. And we're gonna have.
We need to go to commercial on this one.
Yeah, let's go to commercial. When we come back, I will make 2024 jokes as John Mulaney, and by jokes I mean just the punchline, no setup.
Is there an impression? Do you have a voice?
Yeah, it's basically a young John Lovitz.
All right,
We'll be right back.
after these messages, we'll be right back.
Don't
forget to subscribe to Historical Roast and Fictional Roast on YouTube.
And we're back. Are you ready? You ready for some subpar John Mulaney impression?
Yeah, this is actually. I didn't know I was looking forward to this as much as I was until you said it, and then I was like, "Oh, this is the best part of the week now."
All right, here we go.
Let me fix this.
John Mulaney. All right, first one. He was aiming for the other ear. Just the punchline. No setup. No setup. They were stuck in space. I think I'm losing the impression that I didn't have in the first place.
Keep it going.
That's that me espresso. That's that you pumpkin spice latte. I'm just thinking Spider-Ham at this point. Okay. Not another MILF movie! Oh, it's really slipping into John Lovitz now. Let me just do John Lovitz. Switching to John Lovitz.
These are John Lovitz punchlines to jokes that have no setup.
The memes have switched to John Lovitz. Here we go. Hawk Tua Girl had her own cryptocurrency, and we all knew how that was going to go.
But honestly, that's probably a John Lovitz joke.
And then Drake went after Kendrick's family. You know, like a moron. Okay, last one.
That was, you went back to Mulaney on that.
Okay, I'm gonna stay in Mulaney for this one because it's a Mulaney joke basically. Well, the horse was reelected to run the hospital.
That's actually good. That's a good
If
call.
you don't know that, please type in John Mulaney horse hospital.
Has he hosted SNL yet?
Not since Trump won? Is that what you're saying?
He's coming up. He's coming up.
Yeah.
You should submit this joke to him.
Okay. Well, I'm sure he's already thought about it, but I'm sure every person on the street is like, hey, that horse back in the hospital. Fucking running the hospital again.
I think everybody's coming up to him.
Hey, John! Horse in the hospital!
Part 2.
He's like, that's why I hate New York.
The sequel's always better than the original. Am I right, John?
Aren't you glad the horse is back in the hospital? No! I have a child now. Do you have two kids?
Yeah.
Wow. Works fast.
I have no idea. I have no idea how many children.
He has
John
17 kids?
We don't talk nearly as much as you think we do.
You and John?
Yeah.
Oh. Or you and me.
So what do you think are like the top 3? Like if you're going to remember 2024.
Top 3?
Yeah, what do you remember from if you're going to look back 5 or 10 years from now, what do you think you'll remember?
The Trump ear assassination.
I put that as a bigger story than him getting reelected.
Yeah, oh, obviously.
Because him.
And I looked at
reelected-
lists, and they named him getting reelected as number 1. Listen, that's surprising. But someone shooting at him and missing, and only getting his ear.
Yeah.
That.
A presidential assassination attempt, it happens less frequently than an idiot getting elected to president or getting reelected to president.
Preteens have been injured more at Claire's than Trump was in that assassination.
It was such a big news story. It wasn't like there was a second assassin that we don't even talk about. That's
So that's one of those moments, because sometimes I'll have those moments where someone will say, hey, it's been blah, blah years since this happened, and I'll remember where I was when I found out. Mm-hmm. I was up here on the balcony cleaning my lungs, and I got not even a notification. What did I get? It wasn't a notification, because I get KTLA stuff all the time, but I feel like I was just on YouTube, and I saw something that was like President Trump shot.
Yeah.
Just shot. And I immediately go, oh, well, he's dead. Because...
Thanks.
But
that's not his actual thought.
But then immediately I was like, shit. All the Democrats are terrible at guns. So if it was one of us, there's a chance we missed. And I don't know who he was or where he leaned towards. Sounds like he was neither, but... Yeah. Independents are also terrible at shooting. So
did you hear what Whitney Cummings said about the assassin on the CNN thing?
She was on CNN?
She was on CNN for their New Year's thing. She did a whole post on CNN.
Oh no!
And she had like a minute left, and she just started like running through stuff. And she goes, "Hey, the guy who attempted the assassination on Donald Trump, he had no silverware in his house. That's weird. We don't talk about that." And I heard that, and I was like, honestly, I don't think of somebody who tries to assassinate the president as normal. I'm not like the weirdest thing about him is he didn't have flatware. The weirdest thing, he tried to shoot a president. That's the norm. I'm not really, most of whatever he did surrounding his life probably a little weird.
Hey, this young man didn't have the proper stuff you usually see at a home. Isn't that fucking crazy?
Isn't it weird that he wasn't normal and well-adjusted?
He used paper plates.
Chopsticks. He seemed like a chopstick.
We don't talk about that enough.
Oh, man. Where do you put that on the new... Is that your number one?
That might be number one. Mm-hmm. I feel like... Oh, man. Because, like, yeah, when I think back on stuff... Because there's a lot of stupid shit, like Hawk Tuah and...
I totally forgot that was last year.
And the Drake and Kendrick beef.
Was that last year?
That was, like, in the last 6 months, I think.
Jesus.
Those both were... like between June and now, I think.
If you'd have told me that was the end of 2023, I'd been like, that sounds right.
I couldn't tell you what happened the first 6 months.
You can't reach for that computer either. I see you looking for shit.
It's recording. If only I had a phone to go, hey.
I put the Trump attempted assassination as the number 2 story from the year for me. And it might just be on my list of the things that I think about the most or that I consider like this biggest news. But in truth, it's probably the biggest news story. Like, if we were doing Historical Roast 2024, that would probably be... See, I feel like that person, whoever... I don't even know the guy's name, whatever his name was, the attempted assassin.
I mean, we'll learn about it one day.
He'd be he'd be the second to last person on the roast.
See, listen, if you are going to assassinate someone, have a catchy name. We're not going to remember it if it's, what was it, probably...
Let me tell you.
Dennis Leonard or something.
Let me tell you who has a catchy name.
John Wilkes Booth.
Let me tell you who has a catchy name.
Have 3 names. Because John Wilkes Booth and, I always want to say Patton Oswalt, but that's...
You always want to say Patton Oswalt assassinate.
And Patton Oswalt, no, JFK.
JFK? So close. It is. You'll get it. You know this one.
Why am I dumb today?
You know this one. We do a show about history.
I know Lee Oswald. Harvey Lee Oswald. I got there.
There you go. Harvey the Rabbit Lee Oswald.
So I have someone.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
I have someone who had a. I know someone who had a kid in 2017.
I know someone who had a kid.
Wait. Do you want me to do it as John Mulaney so you can listen to me? I know someone who had a kid. He named him Harvey. In 2017. You know, Harvey. All good people named Harvey are in history. I can't think of one bad person named Harvey.
That's good.
Lee Harvey Oswald and Harvey Weinstein. I can't think of one good Harvey.
Yeah.
And I have not finished the movie, so.
Harvey Bars from League of Their Own.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Harvey Bars.
40-year-old.
There's no crying in Harvey Bars.
There's no crying in Harvey. Okay, so here's Axios' top 10, all right? Number 10, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce start dating and they kiss at the Super Bowl. Number 9 just says Chappelle Roan. Okay.
Chapel Roan, but yeah.
No, it's Chappelle.
Is it Chappelle?
No, it's Chapel.
like Dave?
The athletes of the Paris Olympics. Probably the break dancer.
Just general in general.
Number 7 is Wicked. Number 6, Sabrina Carpenter. So this is just things, not events.
Look,
I typed in events.
In a sense, though, if we were going to do Historical Roast 2024, these would be really good candidates.
Yeah.
To be on the panel, if we weren't doing only dead historical figures for this one.
So I dubbed this the worst thing that's come out 2024. This list. This list is awful. Number 5 is the Trump assassination attempt.
Number 5?
Yeah, and number 4 is Kendrick and Drake. which is
This is a very
switch those,
specific list.
bring them up and switch those.
Yeah.
And it's and not the war in Gaza, but Gen Z's response to the war in Gaza, which I guess was like
What's this list from?
this
What's
is
it from?
Axios. It's a famous thing. Let me just do. Oh, this is okay. CVS just says here are good things that happen. I don't want
CVS.
Yeah, CVS, the famous network.
The
You know, Big Bang Theory was on CVS.
On the receipt, they print the script. You can just read it.
Oh my
Is
God.
that what that long receipt is?
Here's the thing about the internet. You type in top 10 2024 events, and it'll just give you some bullshit. It'll be like top 10 events coming up in 2024. Top 10 most impactful events 2024. Some guy on YouTube. CVS. Yeah, this is. Yeah, I think I would put Trump's assassination number 1, and as far as I can remember, I would put Drake and Kendrick maybe number 2.
Yeah. And what would be number 3?
The 10-year anniversary of Historical Roast.
10-year anniversary of Historical Roast. You can see it on YouTube now. We roasted the Queen at the Hollywood Improv Friday, November 29th, 2024.
What, are they going to go back in time?
I felt
Proved! It's 20... No, you know what
Promo!
number... Sorry, I'm bumping Kendrick and Drake down. You know what number 2 is?
What?
The CEO assassination.
Yes, that's my number 1.
That's your number 1?
My number 1, and the way I wrote it in the book is Luigi Mangione.
That was...
That's a catchy name for an assassin. I remember that shit.
So here's the crazy thing: is Trump was assassinated? They tried to assassinate Trump. He barely got cut in the ear.
Barely. He did not need that bandage at the RNC.
Everyone was like, "Don't joke about it." My parents were like, "Don't joke about it." No memes. I saw maybe 5 memes in the course of a month.
You just started doing a Chris Rock impression. Don't joke about it.
Don't joke about it. That's my Chris Rock. That's my parents' Chris Rock. But as soon as the CEO gets assassinated, less than 5 days later, it's everything I've seen. Every part of the internet is a meme about the CEO.
Yeah.
It has been 2 months, and there's still constantly memes about it.
Yeah.
I went on a show, so I didn't. I wasn't real. That was like 3 days of like I didn't go to any comedy shows between when they saw the CEO getting assassinated, made it onto TV and everything. For 3 days, I didn't go to any comedy shows. I had a show on the 4th day, and it was like a Christmas burlesque comedy show. Mm-hmm. And at one point, I had to go up as Cold Miser? Yeah, Cold Miser. Snow Miser. From the, I don't know if you saw that Christmas movie, but Snow Miser, Heat Miser. So I'm like, I'm going to be like an insult comic version of Snow Miser. So I go up and I go up.
You start complimenting everyone.
No, I go up
state.
and I go, first thing I go, white power. I mean, white powder. And everyone loses their shit. People are like grabbing onto each other, you know, we're like, I can't believe you said that. So I'm like, okay, I can't wait to say this other thing. And so it's supposed to be like a baking show, and I'm supposed to be like Gordon Ramsay or whatever. And so someone brings up a cake, and we're all supposed to go down the line and insult the cake. And I go, I'm not saying this cake makes me wish I was dead, but right now I wish I was a healthcare CEO. And people acted like it was like the funniest. People were losing their
shit. Like they were at the Apollo, they're falling out of their
chair.
People
were like grabbing their wigs, they're holding their chest, they're like, oh, like if someone grabbed an inhaler.
They did one of these moves.
And like the other actors on stage didn't really know how to follow that for like a full 7 seconds of just people laughing, and then it died down, and the host was like, yikes. Oh man, but yeah, that was probably one of the, maybe that is number 1. I don't know.
That's my number 1. I think that it's tough to put an assassination over an attempted presidential candidate assassination, but I think it both has the potential to have more lasting long-term effect in history, and is also so emblematic of so many different things. First of all, it also intrigued me a lot more of trying to understand what that speaks to society, what it means, how does this happen, what's the whole story, all of it. I just put it number 1, and like, think of it this way too. That guy tried to assassinate Donald Trump. He missed. Donald Trump gets elected. In a week, he's going to be inaugurated as a president, and we're going to move on. Like the story, like it happened, but also later on, more shit happened that kind of negates this idea that occurred. Whereas in here, there was both a cause and an effect, and now the backlash and the repercussions come directly with that event.
Yeah. So my question is, what's more surprising? A weird loner kid who is conservative trying to kill the Republican presidential candidate, or a rich kid killing another rich person?
More surprising?
More
the first
surprising.
One. The first one. The Donald
Trump?
Yeah, that's more surprising as a move. The second, it doesn't surprise me nearly as much.
Because he's a healthcare CEO. Or because he's Italian, Eddie. Is that what you're saying?
Because when you put it the way you put it,
yeah,
it was more surprising that
loner kid who's a conservative
would try to take out Donald Trump than a liberal would
see what you're saying.
A move on a terrible CEO figurehead.
Right.
That's less shocking to me. It's less shocking to me than because that's Donald Trump's persona and his entire political base is built on fanaticism.
Yeah.
So anybody who's in that stream, I would not ever think somebody would do that.
Yeah.
I would have thought, like you said, that the Democrats are bad with guns. I would have thought that was somebody more left leaning who went off the rails that day.
Yeah.
Because I would not have expected that from somebody who had flatware.
Yeah, listen, boys will be boys. Sometimes
if you go to Target
men have a bad day
and you get a set of forks and knives and spoons, I mean.
Yeah. And if you have a 3D printer, before you print out a gun, just print some silverware. The more you know.
Do you know my favorite part of the Luigi Mangione story that has kind of been like left aside, that is also, it means absolutely nothing now.
Right.
But intrigued me so much, because I'll tell you right now too, I think that's one of those stories that I think I'll never really know the whole story or the whole truth.
The Luigi? Yeah.
I think there are going to be a lot of details that are left out. I think there are going to be things that just don't vibe with the story. I think there's a possibility that it's not going to be as it's told to me.
The amount of amateur detectives that have come out of the woodwork, like just among, this is how I found out my friends are, I have a lot of idiot friends. Because some of them will be like, and I'm not saying one is my brother, but I'm just saying some of them are like, what's a rich guy doing at McDonald's? I'm like, fucking Trump was just working at McDonald's like a month ago.
Yeah.
They love McDonald's.
Yeah.
That's their shit. Of course he's going to be at McDonald's. That's probably I don't know. That's and then,
my favorite part.
Yeah.
The bag of Monopoly money found in Central Park that we just don't talk about anymore.
Yeah.
Kind of look, I get it, Whitney. You talk about the silverware. We found a bag of Monopoly money in Central Park that he supposedly left behind, and we just don't mention it anymore. Like it just nothing.
Yeah.
That's the what. Because if he really did have that backpack and that was his, he had it with him at the crime scene.
Yeah.
He would have had to have thought to himself, I might get caught here. And if they catch me here, I want them to catch me with a backpack full of Monopoly money.
I want them to catch me with a metaphor.
I want this to be really well written as a joke. This is like a John Mulaney bit. And we had Monopoly.
Hey, what do you think was in the bag? Monopoly money. Like a moron.
I love that too, because I don't know if I've ever said this to you. I'm undefeated at Monopoly. I've never been beaten at Monopoly. I'm very good at Monopoly.
You've never been shot in the head.
I'm undefeated. And sometimes I will admit, to stay undefeated, I have stolen money. I've stolen money out of the bank when somebody wasn't looking. But if you're not stealing money out of the bank when no one's looking, I don't think you understand capitalism. So I feel like it's still fair. If you can steal money and nobody notices in Monopoly, that's a wholly legal move in my book.
It's funny that the top two...
That's Monopoly. That's the point of capitalism, guys.
It's funny that the top two things we have for the events of this year were basically rich guy gets shot.
Yeah.
And I'm watching Squid Game, as you can tell. If you're watching this, I have a Squid Game shirt on, and
if you're not
and
watching
it's
this,
so
it's
hard.
A weird non sequitur.
It's so hard to watch it and not think about one of those two events because it's if you haven't seen the show, it's like a Hunger Games / Battle Royale type scenario where rich people do this for entertainment and they dangle like a bunch of money in front of all these people who need the money. Yeah, just like Eddie's doing, dangling Although it looks like you're like a maid with a very delicate Swiffer or whatever it's called,
feather duster,
and you're just going through your yeah. You got white gloves on. You're feather dusting the Lego sets. I don't know what people do.
All right, what's your number 3 news story then? What would you pick if those are
are
1 and 2? Let's pretend those are 1 and 2, and you can either interchange them because there's much to be said about an attempt on a president's life. That's a very big news story. What would be your number 3?
You know what? It might actually. So I might bump down Drake and Kendrick out of the top 3 and move it to Kamala replacing Biden.
Wow, that's a good one.
Because people forget about that.
Yeah.
And it happened so fast too, in a way. Even though it was like those 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever felt like an eternity. When Biden's like, I'm stepping down. We're gonna find someone else. And all of the news for the full 200 hours were constantly like, it could be this guy. It could be her. It could be him.
There was a Jewish guy they were talking about too, right?
Shapiro. Yeah.
Is that a Jewish name?
I don't know if it's a new Jewish name. That's his name.
It's a very Jewish name.
Okay.
That's a good number 3.
Yeah. So that's my top 3. I think the 1 assassination attempt, and Biden falling asleep. Falling asleep, maybe.
Is that what you said?
Falling out of the race and giving.
All right, my number 3 then. It's taking a bit of a left turn from this. My number 3 story to me was like if you were like, think back to 2024. What are you going to remember the most? What are you going to talk about the most in years to come? Diddy getting arrested.
The
charges against Diddy.
That's pretty wild.
Do you know what I think about more often than not?
What was he doing with all that baby oil?
Not what was he doing, but that baby oil is evidence. That's stored. It's someone's job somewhere in evidence to guard the baby oil. And it's like they can't get rid of it because that's evidence. If they need to go to court, they need to be like, how many bottles? They need to count it. They can't just say we got rid of it. Well, then there's no evidence. That is locked. Those bottles of baby oil, the thousands of bottles of baby oil are booked as evidence in some federal storage unit, and they just have to hold on to all this baby oil, and it's just sitting there.
Yeah. Someone right now is saying 99 bottles of baby oil.
They can't touch it. They can't. But somebody somewhere is paid to guard the Diddy baby oil that was supposedly used at these parties.
So I worked at this like corporate building where
Your
they would bring in.
transition is too fast. I'm nervous.
They were bringing celebrities
Did you
in
see
all
how
the time.
fast he was just like, and when I was working.
And when I went to Diddy's party, I did not realize that I had to bring my own baby oil. BYOBO.
Why wouldn't he have baby oil? I've seen the receipts.
But no, Diddy was there in the building, and I knew that because there were about 17 looked like teenage guys in suits walking around. I mean, they were just young. They were probably like 25 or whatever, but they were walking around in suits, and there were just so many of them. And I was like, is there a fucking president here? What's going on? Or is Oprah back? Like, what's going on? But it was just Diddy's crew, and they were all over the place, because he was like, all right, spread out, whatever. Yeah. And so they were just like looking, like, hey, how do I work this soda machine? Like, how old are these bagels? Like, they were just everywhere. I was in that place.
Are these bagels underage by any chance? I think we should go to commercial. When we come back, we should talk about, we were talking about who we should roast next, and this has been a roast that has been on your list as one of your top wants for roasts for a while, and I think we should talk through that. So
right, we'll be
take
right
us
back.
to commercial.
To commercial!
I declare commercial!
This is Eddie Firth.
This is Ryan Pig. And on this night in history, we are roasting the Queen of England.
Good to be back. Here we go. Man, I didn't know I'd be first.
Me and America both have a similar ghost haunting us, Camilla. Or you say Kamala? Okay.
The British Empire baffles me. You conquered half the planet, stole all of their spices, and then used none of them.
Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen. When Nelson Mandela sits down on the toilet street.
No! Let's move on to Hitler. I have no idea what a Jew is, but I want one in every room of my house.
I like to make it abundantly clear, man, this accent. Nobody knows
back in Shakespearean London, right?
Queen Elizabeth rarely gave interviews or made her position known on political issues, which is admirable for a queen, but frustrating if you're panic writing this set on a bus before you put on a fucking Hitler costume.
Diana, you tried to steal my thunder, and I beat you so severely you would have thought I was John Lennon.
I mean, it is no wonder his most famous play was a love story about some miners.
Only one of us went to jail.
Not like us. Only one of us was president.
And we're back.
I declare we're back.
We're back.
We're back!
If you
I'm
don't
telling
include that in
you.
the edit, then they're not going to understand why I sound like an idiot. Good.
Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of roasts that we've never done, both fictional and historical. And New Year's resolution. What would be a historical roast specifically that you would like to do that we've never done before?
One that I want to do. I want to talk through the one that you've always proposed. That has been like. It's always, I think of it one, like, it's always been second, like the runner-up to whatever we were doing that month. It was like, we're going to do this historical roast or this one. We always do the first one. And then it was the next month, it was still number 2. And then the next month, it was the second one. And I've always liked this idea.
So Jackie Robinson beat this?
Jackie Robinson beat this. And we remember how that show turned out. It was not one of our best shows.
Leonardo da Vinci beat this.
Leonardo da Vinci beat this historical roast, this historical figure.
God.
I mean, God definitely.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
God definitely.
We stretched a few things with God. We're like, Adam and Eve are here. Okay, so yes. I've always wanted to roast the Wright brothers.
The Wright brothers.
The Wright brothers.
The Wright brothers.
The Wright brothers. And those brothers are the Wright brothers. Those are the right ones. So obviously we'd have Orville and Wilbur on the dais.
Yes.
This is how I pitched it to Eddie. We'd have the Wright brothers, obviously. Amelia Earhart. Sully. And hear me out. Don't turn it off yet. Don't turn off the podcast. Just stay with me. Osama bin Laden. I've added to the dais since then. So that's usually how I'd pitch this to Eddie. And Eddie would nod until I got to Osama bin Laden. And he'd like, we gotta go with Leonardo da Vinci.
But look, that's a very funny, I want to hear it.
Yeah.
What's your reasoning for including Osama bin Laden on the dais?
When you think about airplanes, how they've been used, there's a lot of different usages to them. I think Osama bin Laden kind of invented something in his own way. Although it wasn't the first time that's something like that has happened. But definitely of that magnitude.
When the Wright brothers heard about 9/11 in heaven, they heard about what happened, they went, finally somebody gets it!
We were tired of running bicycles into buildings, and then we're like, what if it flew? You wipe out more people!
That bicycle joke is good because they made bicycles. You don't know this yet. I swear, if you're watching this, you do not know that the Wright brothers built bicycles before airplanes, but that's a good joke because they did.
So I've added to the dais since then. So we have the Wright brothers, Amelia, Sully, Bin Laden. I've added Howard Hughes. I don't know if you've seen The Aviator.
Oh, that's a good one. I don't
Howard
have
Hughes.
that down.
He's an aerospace engineer, for those who don't know, business magnate, film producer, jacked off the airplanes constantly, OCD, blah, blah, blah.
Peed in jars.
He was a freak in the best way.
And
the worst.
Leonardo DiCaprio played him in a movie.
Yeah.
So I guess it worked.
It's a sexy weirdo. Leonardo da Vinci. Speaking of Leonardo.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
Leonardo da Vinci. I'm excited to hear who you had on your dais if this isn't. Bessie Coleman, first black and indigenous woman to hold a pilot license. Ironically, spoiler alert, also died in an airplane.
Jesus.
I think she was like 34.
Too soon.
And last and certainly not least, and I don't think Eddie will be okay with this for certain rules that we have, but Harrison Ford.
Why Harrison Ford?
Because he's crash landed his plane twice.
Okay, I like that one, and I will let it stand for now because I have a really crazy one on my list.
Is it Chewbacca?
No, that's good. We'll put them both in there.
Yeah. I want to hear your dais.
So Neil Armstrong to me is on the day.
Oh yeah.
Neil Armstrong, because he's a pilot and he is the most piloty pilot. That if you're a pilot, there's no further you can fly than the moon right now.
By the way, real quick, if you guys know who Alex Edelman is, one time we were roasting Neil Armstrong, Alex comes over to us and goes, hey, I heard you guys are roasting Neil. I actually have a little anecdote about him if it's okay, if you have time. We're like, yeah, totally, man, go on up. And he goes up, and I'm not going to tell all the jokes and everything because I probably don't remember all of them, but basically he was in an elevator as a child, and his mom is there, and Neil Armstrong comes into the elevator, and his mom is basically like, hey, Neil, this is my son Alex. He really wants to be an astronaut when he grows up. And Neil basically said, give up on your dreams, don't be an astronaut, and left the elevator.
I remember, now that you say it, I remember Alex Edelman dropping
I believe
in on
that's
the show.
how. Yeah, I believe that's
because he wasn't booked on the show. He just happened to be at Meltdown.
Yeah.
And he's like, I happen to have this story, and went up.
And we had him on. I think that was the only time we had him on historical because we had him on fictional for when we roasted Jim Carrey characters.
Maybe some others. Yeah.
He was a cable guy, I think. Yeah.
So Neil Armstrong would definitely be, for me, somebody who's definitely on this panel too.
Yeah.
You put him in a spacesuit, that looks amazing on stage.
Yes.
I wrote down Osama bin Laden because you've said it every time since we brought it up, and it's on the list.
Let's just roast bin Laden and have the rest have an airplane themed.
Amelia Earhart, obviously.
Yeah.
I did some research because we should talk about, for the few people who don't know what the Wright brothers did, I do want to talk about not just what they did in their first flight, but also some of the stuff I learned about them was kind of funny. Albert Santos Dumont. So, the first
sounds
flight,
like someone who would assassinate a president.
So December 17th, 1903, the Wright brothers are credited with the first controlled flight. They're the first people to fly.
Okay.
That's
Is it like a technicality?
This is what it is. Like anything else, like any invention, like any discovery, there's multiple people who say they've discovered it all around the same time, which is, look, you go into looking at monkeys. Monkeys use tools across the world, global conscious. They know how to use a stick, and then somewhere else they know how to use a stick, but they never talk to each other. So, but right around...
They don't have phones. We got to give the monkeys phones. They could be writing Shakespeare right now.
Between 1898 and 1906, there are several people who lay claim to this, but the Wright brothers are held, at least in American education, at the top. In Brazil, Albert Santos Dumont is credited as the person who took the first flight, and he wound up doing a public show and all of these things. But it would be interesting to present that while we have all learned throughout history that they are the people who manned the flight with a motor engine, and you could steer the plane, because that was the big thing. That's what I learned. The big thing wasn't just flying. It was like, you got to be able to control this thing. That's what they looked at. Like, no, I got to steer left and right.
Oh my gosh.
So I thought that'd be kind of interesting, of like one of the guys who's most credited with also having done it, and who insulted them for using a rail system and a catapult system alternatively. He said he didn't, or something like that.
So I don't know if I've told you this.
Yeah.
I feel like I have, but maybe it's been a while.
You're a pilot?
I'm a pilot, and I was flying those planes with Harrison
for Boeing.
Yeah. That's not the pilot's fault. That's the plane. But no, my great uncle was friends with the Wright brothers, and he was there the first time they took off.
That's fucking incredible.
I have to get the actual name from my grandma.
Holy shit.
But
I read about some of those people last night on Wikipedia.
Were any of them last named Wilbur?
I don't remember their names.
I can't remember if it's Will, because that's
look up the Wikipedia. It's on the Wikipedia. Okay. Because what I thought was funny is when I was reading that, they're like, it's the Wright brothers and 5 people are all there on December 17th. They had like 4 or 5 flights. The first one lasted 12 seconds. That's not a flight. That's a very high jump.
Yeah. That's the flight from here to San Francisco.
The last flight they took was so the first flight they took was 12 seconds. They went 120 feet. The 4th flight they took that day lasted 59 seconds, and they went 852 feet. Only a group of men would think 59 seconds is a long time.
Okay, so this says Adam Etheridge, John T. Daniels, Will Doe.
That's got to be your Wilbur.
That's got to be
Wilbur Doe.
Or W.C. Brinkley.
W could be Wilbur.
And Johnny Moore.
Because what it sounded like, they were like, yeah, it was them and 5 friends. That sounded like, hey, you saw us fly, right? And then they're like, yeah, wink, wink. Like if you and I went, look, I've definitely lied about the number of people at a specific historical roast. When somebody's like, how many people were there? I was like, oh, it was a packed house. It was like 12 people.
Yeah.
If I've lied about that, you think some of their friends were like, oh yeah, they flew, must have been what, 852 feet.
I like to think
for how long? 59 seconds. Like, come on, man. That's if your friends are vouching for you. That's kind of bullshit. Get the fuck out of here.
I like to think that on the show, the times when our shows were actually packed,
Yeah.
you were like, people were hanging out the window seals. People were underneath the stage listening in.
There was one show people were at the first Nerdist show. They were watching from the street.
Yeah,
There
that
were
was a
people
fire
going out-
hazard.
Yeah,
The fire department was conveniently behind.
Yeah.
But we were in the smaller annex theater, so they didn't come.
No.
After we moved to the big theater, then they were like, "There's more than 150 people there."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I read that there were 5 of their friends there, and I was like,
Okay.
I was like, yeah, they all agreed.
I
You
gotta-
guys flew the plane. What's that? Oh man, 152 feet. They measured that? Come on, they fudged that.
I gotta ask. I feel like it was either my dad or my grandma who told me that. So I gotta ask, like, what was his name? Mm-hmm. And then whenever we do roast, you guys have to come so I can reveal which one of those 5 strangers was my great uncle.
So I think Charles Lindbergh could also be on the panel.
Oh,
Pilot?
wait. Oh, I'm thinking of the Hindenburg. What's Lindbergh? Who's
Lindbergh.
that?
He flew
Around the world?
I think so. I didn't even look it up. I just wrote.
Well, I was there, and he did fly around the world. So
I thought of whatever person related to an airplane I could think of, and I was like, fucking Lindbergh, right?
Can we have someone dress up as the Bermuda Triangle?
That's good. I thought one of the Tuskegee Airmen would be really good. There's one who flew Eleanor Roosevelt in a plane as a demonstration of their ability to pilot. So one of the Tuskegee Airmen.
Yeah.
There are a few candidates within that, but I thought the one who took Eleanor Roosevelt, C. Alfred, they called him Chief, C. Alfred Chief Anderson. So Chief Anderson would be a really cool person to put on this dais. I had Sully. So here's my weird one. Do you want to hear my weird one?
Of course.
Really outside the box. Who's roasting the Wright brothers if we have the Wright brothers?
Let's hear it.
Tom Cruise's character in Top Gun.
Okay,
Was it Goose? Is he Goose or Maverick?
No, he's Maverick.
He's Maverick.
Goose
I've never seen Top Gun.
Oh, then I won't spoil what happens to Goose. But
He dies.
What the fuck? I've never seen it either. No, I'm just kidding.
He dies.
He dies.
And in the second movie, he's still dead.
Okay, so I know I've been saying for years, if we roast the Wright brothers, I want Amelia Earhart, Sully, Bin Laden. Here's my alternative bad pitch for Wright brothers roast. It's just the brothers roast. So it's Marx Brothers, Smothers Brothers, Warner Brothers, Brothers Grimm, JFK and RFK, Edwin and John Wilkes Booth, and of course the Wright brothers. The brothers roast.
That's good.
I don't want to do it because I want Bin Laden, but if we happen to want to roast, if it goes really well and it turns out Wright brothers have a big fan base, we're doing the brothers roast.
We need
2
a
months
second
later.
brothers roast.
Yeah. We'll put a buffer between the 2 roasts so people don't think we're also obsessed with the Wright brothers, but there's got to be a fan base out there.
They flew, their first flight was 12 seconds long and went 120 feet. I've made paper airplanes that have flown longer and further than that. That's not a flight. I also think, so who would we dress up as? Because I have a few ideas. Who would we, because we're going to host the show. If we're roasting the Wright brothers,
Right.
who are we dressing as?
What?
I think of 3 options off the top of my head. What do you got?
Well, first it would be airplanes. Not pilots. Not pilots. Airplanes.
You would be the door of the Boeing that flew off.
Oh my god, yeah.
I'd be a flight attendant.
Yeah.
That's funny. I like that.
Well, no, I'd be the Malaysian flight that got lost.
So you wouldn't be there?
That's
just
fucking
wouldn't
funny.
You just wouldn't show up.
That's
like Ryan
hilarious.
was supposed to be here.
No, Malaysian airline was supposed to be here, but it got lost on the way. Yeah, we got it. That's how we open the show.
Definitely flight attendants. Definitely Air Force pilots.
Yeah, flight attendants, Air Force. I like flight attendants a lot. Are we lady flight attendants?
Yeah, skirts.
Yeah.
Skirts.
Like
from the
1960s.
60s TWA.
We all saw that show that lasted 7 episodes.
I think this is not my number 1 pick. This is my number 2 or 3. I'll tell you my number 1. But my number 2 would be
Benjamin Linus and Jack.
That's good. That's good. TSA agents.
Oh, there you go. And they're popular right now because of that Die Hard knockoff.
We would be TSA agents. I went through the airport recently traveling to and from the East Coast for my parents. Each had their 70th birthday. And I was standing in that security line and I realized I really wouldn't mind if at this point they just put me on the conveyor belt with my bag.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to go through the separate thing. And I think what would fix TSA is if one of those two machines should just be an MRI machine. Yeah. I should be getting if you're doing a full body scan and you see something that's suspicious, let me know so I can get it checked. If you want me to see something, say something, you're doing an MRI. Tell me I have Kaiser. Your MRI is at least as good as Kaiser's. Give me the results and I can bring them to a doctor.
I'll fax it to my doctor.
I'll take no. But if you see anything on that scan while I'm in the little conveyor belt, Eddie, you should get that checked out. The left one, it's looking a little like it has a...
that's one of the jokes from Airplane, and I know you've seen that movie because you constantly...
I love that movie. Do they put them through the X-ray machine?
So, instead of like a bag showing up, it's like someone's lungs.
Oh yeah.
But Marissa's never seen it, so I just was like, I'll never... Whenever I'm like, let's sit down and watch a movie, she's like, I have TikTok, I'll never do that. So I'll turn on a movie, and she'll just go from looking and being like, oh, that's funny. Wait. And then she'll just start watching.
It's a great movie.
Like a 5-year-old. Turn on something. They eventually get distracted. But she was like really loving the movie. And it's such a clever movie.
Yeah.
But I was telling her a few things. But everyone always is like, wait, you've never seen Airplane to her? Yeah. And she's like, no, I've never seen it. But she kind of was like, when's it from? Before I was born? Not going to watch it.
Yeah. But is it even in color?
Yeah.
That's how Marissa sounds like. Is it even in color?
I think they may have heard her seconds ago, and she was like,
is it even in color? I don't want to watch nothing in that black and white movies.
Yeah. Some jokes she like doesn't think is that funny, but every once in a while she'll be like, oh my god, this is hilarious. One of the jokes was when they're in the mental ward or whatever, and the guy goes, oh, that's Frank. He thinks he's Ethel Merman. And then you cut over it, it's Ethel Merman. You'll be great! You'll be swell!
So, you know who I do want to host the Wright Brothers Roast as? I want to be the guys on the tarmac with the two little flashlights, and we both have flashlights for the whole show, and we're like, please welcome our next guest, Osama bin Laden.
Every joke, the comedians will be like, are they giving me the light, or are they telling me to merge? Airplanes merge, yeah, right?
Oh man,
we've all seen airplanes merge. And
I think it might be time for the Wright Brothers. There's a few other options, but I want to pitch you this kind of alternate idea to the Wright Brothers, and then you guys are going to decide for us who we're roasting next.
Well, let's go to break first before. Is it what I think you're going to pitch? Let's definitely go to break right now.
Let's go to break. Go get some Oreos and a coffee and come right back. We'll see you in a minute.
Get something you can do a spit take with. We'll be right back.
Hey, get the Buckingham Palace Guard a new pom-pom.
Get the fucking hemp out of here.
Welcome back. He's Pom and I'm Pom. Welcome to Pom Pom.
We're Pomeranians. If someone can do some animation of us as Pomeranians, that'd be great. Yeah. I'm really excited to hear your alternative idea to a Wright Brothers roast. I think I know what it is, but go ahead and let's hear it. Everyone, don't drink water right now. Go ahead.
So one of my favorite parts about our show, with Historical Roast, is that we roast both historical figures who impacted history. The Wright brothers invented flight. Abraham Lincoln as a president. Helen Keller. We've roasted these incredible figures who actually impact history, and then we also roast pop culture figures. Michael Jackson, Elvis, Lucille Ball. Different than Cleopatra and Martin Luther King Jr. You have actual history, and then you have societal pop culture history. And when we've also always balanced kind of going back and forth between the two. Yeah. And if we were going to do a pop culture roast, not Michael Jackson, not any of these other people, I would be very interested. Like, this idea just keeps bothering me. I think we should do historical roast Kobe Bryant. Because look, we roast the ones we love. He's fucking incredible. I love Kobe Bryant. I love Kobe. Kobe Bryant and I both went pro right out of high school. He just went to the NBA and I went to Blockbuster. I love Kobe Bryant. I'm wearing Kobe Bryant's 5th championship ring right now. I love Kobe Bryant.
Yes.
And also, that'd be a very funny roast.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know anything about sports.
Okay.
I would occasionally call Michael Jordan Michael Jackson on accident.
When was the last time you did that?
Well, maybe 10 years ago, but still, it doesn't matter.
That's
still, it stays with me.
It's with this, just about as old as this roast.
But I I think people would rather see us roast Helen Keller again than Kobe Bryant.
But also, it's because
he's
Kobe.
so-
It's LA. Like it's
Exactly.
obviously out of love. Like that's the thing. And I say that.
Listen, do you know how nervous I was when we roasted Tupac and Biggie?
How were you nervous?
Well, when we were in downtown LA for that fucking festival.
Oh
yeah.
my God, broke LA. Yeah,
We
yeah.
had because who else? We had Selena. We had a bunch of other people. Did we have Diddy? Did we have Diddy?
No, we had
no.
Suge Knight.
We had Suge Knight.
Suge Knight.
That was probably the scary part to me.
Yeah.
Because the first time we roasted Tupac and Biggie, it was just Tupac and Biggie who were roasting, and Biggie didn't even show up.
Biggie did not show up.
Biggie didn't show up.
Biggie
It was
said-
just Tupac, and Tupac the whole time was waiting for Biggie to show up. and-
Biggie texted me later and said I fell asleep on the train. And did not make it to the show.
He had a
So, yeah.
he had a Biggie nap.
Look, I would only do Kobe if, first of all, we would be hosting as referees. How funny would the two of us be in referee uniforms, okay? I think, I know it's so tough, but how do you also not, like, I would want to. If we were doing season 2, this name would definitely get brought up in the writer's room.
Right.
There's a version of the Kobe Bryant roast. It's kind of like, oh, you're pushing it because...
And the Netflix
he died in
producers would be
tragedy.
like, why are they laughing at Kobe?
Why are they laughing at Kobe? It's so tough. There are also really sensitive subjects about Kobe that you also would have to possibly touch on. But I don't know. Kobe Bryant seems like such a good roast. It's got so much there. So here's the panel. Let me tell you because
Please tell me the panel. Please tell me the
you
panel.
have Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain. Do you know Wilt Chamberlain?
I don't know specifics, but that sounds familiar.
Famous Lakers center.
Okay.
Played for the Philadelphia Warriors as well. He's famous for having scored 100 points in a single game, and Kobe has the second most points in a single game with 81. Wilt's one of the most dominant players in the history of basketball, and in his memoir, famously said that he slept with over 20,000 women.
20,000?
This is a legit quote
Fucking
from his
Genghis
book.
Khan?
Muhammad Ali.
Okay.
Muhammad Ali is there roasting. So Anya Malik is Wilt Chamberlain. Muhammad Ali is Willie Hunter.
Okay.
Right. Jerry West. Jerry West is also a former Laker who played with Wilt Chamberlain years ago, 60s. They won a championship in the late 60s or early 70s with the Lakers. Jerry West is actually the logo of the NBA. So the NBA logo is a silhouette of Jerry West, and Jerry West was working for the Lakers. He traded to get Kobe Bryant to the Lakers in the draft. So he drafted Kobe Bryant because he knew right away Kobe was going to be a big star. He's like, Shaq, I got this guy you're going to work with. You're going to play with Kobe. You guys are going to be the best thing ever.
Nice.
Serena Williams. So we're breaking every once in a while we will allow a living person on historical roast. I think Serena Williams roasting Kobe Bryant is perfect. Maggie May is Serena Williams. Boom.
I think this means we can have Harrison Ford on the Wright brothers, but go on.
Yes. Dr. James Naismith invented basketball.
Oh, I was reading your cursive as Dr. Seuss, but go on.
Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss, obviously.
Dr. James Naismith invents the game of basketball. Kobe, I don't know if you know this, plays basketball. So, obvious connection.
Thought it was the Yankees.
Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth.
One of the greatest baseball players of all time.
I know Babe Ruth.
He's roasting Kobe Bryant. A possibility, again, if we're ever steering away, because here's the tough thing, is Kobe passed way too soon, way before his time. So any contemporaries or ideas of who would... Obviously, you want Michael Jordan, but you don't want too many living people. I thought maybe Wayne Gretzky would be interesting. Wayne Gretzky's a possibility. I think if you're going to veer into some silly territory, some dangerous territory, O.J. Simpson roasting Kobe Bryant. O.J. Simpson, you killed on the basketball court, I killed somewhere else.
Oh my God. Wait. Okay, before we go any further, this made me realize that we should definitely have Kobe's helicopter pilot on the Wright brothers roast.
Oh my God. So this leads me to a moral idea and quandary of what our show is, which is there are versions of what we do that cross certain lines.
Right.
So having Kobe's helicopter pilot who made a choice that ended up killing a bunch of people, that's one of those, like O.J. Simpson, like Osama bin Laden. We start to venture into these morally gray territories, and there are versions of our show. I think we've always tried to be very sensitive, even though we put duct tape on Helen Keller, even though we have Hitler on constantly. We're constantly playing with this line of how much is too much, how far is too far, and what what's our moral center on what these issues are. Because there are people I would put on this roast who are on the list that I go, I think it's too far for me, but it's an idea I wrote down in the book.
Right.
Because we consider it, and I would look at you and I would, like, I'm really going to qualify this one. I don't think it's the right choice. I don't think you put this person on for obvious reasons, but also it's one that you would discuss in a writer's room. You would discuss, if we didn't have the cameras on, I would have said this name out loud to him in the room. It's like, do we do this or do we not do this? We probably don't do it, but I think about it.
So what I liked about the writer's room is no one was off. Wait.
Do you know who that is?
Playing in this?
This person would be in this roast.
Not Serena.
No. That's not. No. This is not the comedian.
Oh.
This is the person. Do you know who that person is?
I don't know who that is.
So, you know how he passed away?
Who?
Kobe. You know how Kobe passed away?
Oh, in the helicopter, yeah.
Oh,
I do know who that is, you bastard.
See, that's what I mean. Like,
Okay, wait. No, that's not. Wait.
We don't have to say it out loud. No. You probably get what I'm thinking of, and that's why we wouldn't do it, because it's too far.
Christ.
But that's a very funny character to put on a roast of Kobe Bryant. So you think about it, and you look at it, and you go, that's too far, because you don't want that, because you don't. Yeah. That's not what we're saying about it. But you look at it as a comedic idea of how does it fit into what we're doing?
Yeah.
Where do you want it? Do you want it in? Does it make the statement you want? Does it fit? Is it too far? Is this not really going to land? Are you going to turn audience members off one way or another with this? And in that case, yeah, it's too much. It's too far. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But also in my head, that's a very fun, because I know the joke. It's like, I don't even want to say it. Cause
we'll cut it out if you don't want it.
But you know what the joke is. You know who's in the book. You get it. If we were different comedians, doing a different show, that person would be on the roast.
Yeah.
And that would be part of how they want to present it. And there are people who make choices like that in comedy who do go to these lines and over them. And I look at it as, I just don't want to do that kind of thing.
Well, here's what I
think
realized.
About it. I do think about it. I just go, oh, that's not me. But I did think about it.
I do think about it and write it down and
I make him read
and allude to it on a podcast.
And if you don't know who it is at this point, that's on you. And we're not going to say who it is, but we're telling you we're not doing that.
So what I've realized from doing the roast for this many years is the person is not where the line is drawn. It's the jokes that either about the person or that the person says or whatever, because you can have anyone on our show and people will get offended, but they don't have a reason to be offended until they hear what the jokes are about the person. Because I'll be at a roast and I'll be waiting to hear the hack joke and no one will say it. And those are the moments where I'm very proud of the comedians or the writer's room when we're in the writer's room, because people wouldn't have to say the hack joke if it was, whether it was Helen Keller or Anne Frank or whatever. We wouldn't have to say the joke that a 5th or a 5th grader would say, because we are, for the most part, professionals. We are mature, semi-professionals, somewhat mature, to the point where
we're in the
like,
G League.
And we know at the end of the day, it's not worth doing the hacky joke when you're creative enough as a comedian that you can come up with new jokes that no one's ever heard, especially outside of the playground. Like, that's the shit people want to hear, and that's the reason people come to our show, because they're tired of the bullshit jokes they can see on Twitter or whatever. They want to hear what these comedians have as their own perspective. And that's where the line is usually drawn with these figures. I don't know about having her on the show in general. I don't know what she would do. She would literally
Oh my God, I know what she would say. What would she
say?
No, I'm not going to do it. But yes, it's too... For obvious reasons, that one is one I wouldn't want to... That's a person I wouldn't want to put on because for a variety of reasons, but also comedically speaking, I think of it as we go into these areas, we explore them, we talk about them, we think about them, we look at them, we look at what they do mean and what they don't mean and how we do or don't want to present it, and also the effect it's having on others. Because roasting Kobe Bryant is about making you laugh in love for Kobe Bryant. Even in the other side, if you bring up Hitler, you're laughing at us making fun of him by tearing him down within that thing. Whereas this one, we're trying to elevate Kobe and talk about him in that right. The Wright brothers were both elevating them and tearing them down a little. Maybe you didn't invent the airplane. Maybe you didn't get it right. Maybe you maybe you're the wrong brothers, and that's the joke he's saying we won't make on our show.
Yeah, it's too hacky. But I do think. Fuck, where was I going? That was a beautiful monologue, and I have something that I was completely forgot, and I blame you because you introduced me to weed.
Yeah. and then I interrupted you. So in the writers' room, you it's not.
Sorry, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, Kobe. This roast, I would see it as kind of closure because there are a lot of people who use comedy to heal wounds or heal things, and I feel like, especially for a lot of the comedians who we have on the show, I think who love Kobe would be like, this was very cathartic, and it gave me a moment to kind of cope with this because it did happen right before the pandemic, and people kind of swept it under the rug, but they still see the graffiti and statues and all this stuff of Kobe, and they're like, oh, right. And this would kind of be, I would assume, like some sort of closure to a lot of people. It would certainly. That would be the
Jackie
reason.
Robinson could also be on the dais. Jackie Robinson roasting Kobe. So yes, I agree. There is this idea that through this stuff we're honoring Kobe. We're talking about him. We're making fun of him for never passing the ball and shooting too much. But it's also
he never passed the ball and shooting. That's what I know about basketball and Kobe.
So I don't know. The Wright brothers and Kobe to me are both. They're both right on that next list of people. There's a couple others I'm thinking of too that we could do. I was thinking about maybe looking at a date in March at the Improv. Yeah. So what we need you guys to do is who should we roast? Should it be the Wright brothers or should it be Kobe Bryant? Or is there somebody else you think we should roast? That's a good suggestion that we can do this March. So
comment below if you're on YouTube or go to our Instagram and comment on a random picture.
Yeah. If you're watching us on Instagram, we should put up this clip. We're looking to do historical roast in March at the Hollywood Improv. We need to know who you think we should roast. Should it be the Wright brothers or should it be Kobe Bryant, or do you have a better suggestion?
Yeah.
So, comment below.
Comment below, hashtag it, send it to your friends who you think are historical. What are you doing?
Don't let Kobe's wife know we're doing. Do not tag her in this and say we can't believe they're even suggesting it.
I have not signed off on the Kobe roast, but
if he does, because I made him,
I owe him for roasting Hamilton. And I begged him to roast Hamilton. He's like, okay, and then he was like, oh, there's people here.
I put him a fight over Hamilton.
He's like, I put my foot. I'll roast Helen Keller five times, but I will put my foot down.
Here's the argument, because when we roasted Hamilton, I thought people would get confused whether we were roasting the musical or the person, and nobody talked about Hamilton until that musical, and then anyway.
But now they're one and the same.
Or do you want to see fictional roast Wicked? That's Ryan Pig.
This is Eddie Firth. This is Historical Roast Podcast,
teaching history a lesson. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Perfect.
Oh man.
That was a good high five.
I feel great. I feel like I just shot a CEO.
Yeah. Better include that.